Hello, welcome to Member365's webinar on member engagement. I'm Kaya Els, Member365's knowledge base expert, and I'll be your host for today's webinar. Christine Bundy is also here joining us today. She is a customer success coach here at Member365. She's going to be keeping an eye on that chat box, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask and Christine will answer. During this webinar, we're going to see how Member365 tracks engagement of your organization, how you can tailor those engagement analytics. Then we will take a look at the engagement analytics on an individual level and how you can leverage those analytics. After that, of course, we'll have time for any questions. So like I mentioned, if you have any, please feel free to type them in the chat. Christine can answer them and we can get to them together at the end after as well. So we're logged in on the admin dashboard and we're going to focus on this engagement analytics aggregate chart here. And like I mentioned, there's two ways to get to this chart. You can either click through reports, engagement analytics, and individuals, or you can click right through on that chart. So I'm just going to double click because that is a little bit more efficient. And this data is going to give you an overall health check of your organization. It's going to let you know who is engaged, which gives you better traction for retention. So the more members that you have engaged, the more value that they feel being a part of your organization, and that increases their chance of renewing with your organization. So this data is pretty critical to an organization. It gives you the ability to prevent churn. So you're able to identify right from here the average engagement, the median engagement, and to me, most importantly, members requiring attention. So they need a little TLC. This is a very important feature that Member365 provides for the simple reason that if you have individuals not being active in your organization, maybe they have difficulty logging in, they could have misplaced their password, and maybe that's why they're simply not engaging. Their participation is minimal. And so this list is created to help you change that. Once again, you're able to prevent churn. So it allows you to contact these individuals, whether you want to contact them via email or individually and take note in the contact log on their individual profile. Completely up to you and how your organization is ran, but even contacting them proves that you value them as a member and that you're trying to engage them and keep them more involved. So we're going to go back, and under those little scorecards that we saw before, we're going to have a larger representation of that graph. And with this graph, you can, if you need to, bring to board meetings just by clicking Get Graph and having those certain dates lined out that you need. And under this, we're going to start on this Users tab. And here you're able to see your top engaged members. So you have their individual engagement score, their names, and the last activity that they have done, or their last action. And under Actions, you're given the most repeated actions. So this is going to tell you what your members are doing on a day-to-day basis. This information is great for a few different reasons. One being that you're able to identify what your members enjoy doing within their member portal, whether it is grabbing their attention, whatever is grabbing their attention, whether that is the email communications or downloading a file. And this can be a way to plan future content as well. So you might notice that people are opening emails more or discussion forums, but maybe they're not registering for events that are upcoming. So then you can think a great way to actually capture their attention is use a hyperlink to an event registration page via email or post it in the discussion forum. And then therefore, that can cause your event registrations to go up because you're catching their attention of where they are already. Secondly, this information is important because it can be tailored to your organization. So you decide what is most important in your organization, what aspects or features in Member365 you would focus on with your members, and you can modify each action and the individual score. And that's what we're going to do next. So to do this, we're going to click Options in the top right corner and Configuration V1. From here, we're going to find Engagement Analytics, and we'll click Setup. So we have a few options here. The first thing that we're going to touch on is groups. So each action, we're just going to click Manage. Each action that a member can take is going to be broken down into groups. And these groups really represent the different modules and features in Member365. So we have a committee group, discussion forums, an education group, e-marketing, events, any of the modules within Member365 that you may have activated. And you can even add another group if you need to. So within your organization, you probably track a few things closely, whether that's the job board or discussion forums, or engaging people through committees. And you're able to give these a higher multiplier, which is when we're going to talk about tracking. So attaching specific multipliers to actions that are in those groups. So this is pretty much all set to go. You don't really have to come in and change these. You can if you need to, if you want a certain thing with another group. But what I want to talk about in here is the unique. So this is how often you are going to be contacted, or how often their engagement level is going to be calculated. So with this, you are able to say that every time somebody views a committee, it's going to be marked as engaged. You can also change this to daily, weekly, monthly, or first time only. So maybe for first time only, for an example, somebody logging into their member portal. Maybe you just want to give them that one engagement score versus every single time they log in getting an engagement score. Okay, so now that we've looked at the engagement analytics from a reporting view and from the back end, let's take a look at a member on an individual level. I'm just going to pull up my own contact record for this demonstration. And along the left-hand side, I'm going to have an engagement section that you can click into, and this is for all your members, of course. And here's my own personal engagement aggregate. So you can see exactly how engaged I am, and more engaged on some days than others, and also the actions that I'm taking. Again, beneath the chart, you're going to have every action that I have completed and what I do most even. This information is perfect if you have organizational memberships to demonstrate just how engaged they are within your membership and organization. So how it's worth renewing. You can actually give this chart to them and let them know how engaged they have been with your organization and that you're bringing them value, and it's obviously worth renewing. So that is all for our webinar today. If you guys have any questions, if you just want to start typing them in the chat box, and we can go over those together. And thank you for joining me. I appreciate you all coming out every Tuesday and Thursday and learning a little bit more about Member365. Thank you for joining me today. And if you have any questions, don't forget to check out our knowledge base at support.member365.com. And if you have any questions, reach out to our support team at support@member365.com. Thank you. Have a great day.